So you think you've taken your best photo ever, you're ready to sell it and make money as a photographer, but who are you going to sell it to? In fact, how do you get anyone to buy your image when they have millions of others to choose from? Let's find out. Hi, I'm Logan Valentine. This is a part 4 of a 5-part series on how to make passive income as a photographer by selling stock photos. If you're just joining our little community, the other parts are linked in this video. I highly recommend that you watch them. So we talked about how anyone could earn a passive income from stock photography, what camera gear they need, and the importance of finding a niche. Today's about what to do once you've done all that and you're ready to start selling your photos to buyers in a global marketplace. Because it is a global marketplace, you can do this from anywhere. And as more and more people get online, the demand for stock photography is only going to increase. The first thing to do is to have a think about who is actually buying stock images and what they intend to use them for. Once you've been selling your images for a while, you'll start seeing them pop up on the internet and in the real world as well. I've walked into my local library and seen a picture of mine on a book cover. I've stopped to fill up my car and seen one of my photos in the forecourt printed on a banner. I have seen my pictures in newspapers. One time I got off the train in London and the first thing I saw when I got outside the station was my all-time best-selling photo on a billboard. What are the chances of me coming across my work like this? I truly believe that's got to be synchronicity, but anyway. When you sell images through stock sites, there's no telling who's buying them and exactly what they're using them for. Most agencies will let you see information such as where in the world the buyer is located, how much they paid for the particular license they opted for, how many times you've sold an image, but that's about it. If you really want some insights into who your customers are, you need to do a web search. Now this is one of many reasons why it's important to use the same name across all the stock sites you sign up with. Another is brand awareness, which we'll talk more about later.
Right, so using myself as an example, I'm gonna do a Google for Lolo stock. Lolo stock. And I'm gonna specify that I want to search in news. This way I get to see the thumbnails associated with the written content here on the right, and makes it easier for me to see if the individual search results are actually containing any of my photos, which they do. All these are my photos, so I can see that people are using them for mainly articles here. So let's just have a look at the top one. It's from The Guardian. They've used a picture of my girlfriend getting a burnt cake out of the oven to illustrate an article about your worst and best lockdown baking experiences. Okay, this looks like a pretty bad baking experience if you ask me.
Okay, so now I know that my buyers are using my images in articles. I already know that they use them for advertising as well, but that's a little bit harder to investigate and analyze. So say I want to target newspapers and bloggers, I need to create content that will effectively help illustrate whatever it is they're writing about, whatever they're talking about. So what are they writing about? An excellent tool for looking into this is Twitter. See what's trending. What are people talking about right now? Also, if somebody who's used your photo has a Twitter account, have a little snoop. It's a quick way to see what else they're posting about and how you can try to create more content to match their content. If they've used your images once, it's because they like what you do, and chances are they'll buy from you again. So everything I just said is probably more relevant to photographers who have already started selling stock photos and achieved a little bit of success. If you're just starting out, completely from scratch, one of the best things you can do is keyword before you shoot. Now what do I mean by that? Well, rather than just go out and shoot random things, within your micro niche of course, we talked about that in an earlier video, or shoot what you think might be in demand, you need to research the keywords buyers are using right now to get actual confirmation of what's in demand, and then go out and shoot content based on these keywords. Now, All the major agencies very kindly send out newsletters or write blog posts for their contributors to let them know what's in demand, what clients are searching for right now. Use this information. Pay attention to this. Don't just leave these emails sit unopened. That's one way. Another way, this is my personal favorite, is to go to one of the major stock sites' search bar and explore the auto-suggested searches. For example, let's go to Adobe
and type in a very popular keyword. Family. Okay. So now immediately we see a bunch of suggestions, things that people are actually searching for. Let's add a random letter just to see what happens. See what we're gonna get. I'm gonna go for the letter J. Right, family joy, family job, family journey, family joyful, family jumping. Family jumping, that sounds like fun. Let's have a closer look at that one. Right, so we can see that we got 82,511 results for family jumping, which is not a lot. And you can see here we got some suggestions. Family jumping pool, family jumping on bed. Let's have a look at that one. So 5,219 results for family jumping on bed. That's not a lot at all. I'd say that this is an underrepresented subject matter, and it's something that people are actually searching for.
So I would usually try and target search terms that have between 10 and 50,000 results. More than that might be a bit too competitive, and less than that would not be worth my time. Alrighty, last method for selling more stock photos by finding out what's in demand. Get a calendar. There's always some holiday coming up somewhere in the world, and advertisers, bloggers, newspapers, they're gonna need images to represent it. Did you know there's an International Pizza Day? There's a Dim Sum Day. There are months-long events like Veganuary, Movember, the list goes on. For the minor holidays, start submitting your images a month before. For something major like Christmas, you want to be uploading your content in September, perhaps even August, because that's when advertisers are going to start sourcing stock images for their campaigns. Okay, so once you've shot some images in your micro niche, before uploading, there are two more things you need to do. 1, edit your photos, and 2, add all these lovely in-demand keywords that you researched before even taking any pictures. If they're relevant to your photo, using non-relevant keywords will hurt you. More on that in a minute. First up, editing. I import all my shots into Lightroom. This is where I do the bulk of my editing and color grading. I only use Photoshop for more complicated tasks. Using presets will always save you a lot of time. I always apply one of my favorite Lightroom presets immediately on import. That way I get a good sense of what the final image will look like to a buyer before I've even looked at the shots individually. Now, one thing about stock photography, and this might be one reason why some photographers have reservations about giving it a go, is that in order to set yourself apart, you have to be creative, but not too creative. You don't know what the image will be used for. The buyer might want to make their own adjustments to make it match another part of their design. It can be really tempting to slap on a sunny, hipster-tastic film emulation filter and everything, and you might get some good sales from that, if that's what's in demand. But for how long will that stay in demand? This is about taking the long view, about creating assets that will earn you passive income for years to come. So by all means, if you're able to profit from some fad in the short term, do it. But don't base all of your content on it. Personally, I like to play it safe and just add a few basic corrections and color shifts, just enough to make the image pop. That's why I like to apply a preset at the start of my editing process. When I look at all the thumbnails of the images from a shoot in Lightroom, if I have a few similar photos, it's easy to see which one really stands out, which is one of the most important things. When a buyer first sees your image, how do they see it? As a thumbnail. They see it as a thumbnail in this massive sea of other thumbnails. So to get more sales, what you need to do at this stage is edit your photos to look good as thumbnails. It could be as simple as boosting the contrast a little bit. What you want is for your image to attract more attention than all the other shots next to it. By the way, I know I've mentioned my Skillshare course before. But if you check it out, one of my lessons, one of the lessons in this course is a video of my entire workflow editing a stock photo from start to finish. I'm not going to go into all the various Lightroom techniques in this video, that's just too much to cover. When it comes to post-processing, just do the things that you need to do in order to submit it as a stock photo. Remove all visible logos and trademarks, remove people you don't have model releases for, remove properties that you don't have property releases for. Tattoos require property releases, animals require property releases. Lots of people don't realize these things. Remove noise and chromatic aberration. Correct your exposure to reveal details in the shadows. Get rid of blown out highlights. All these things are fairly straightforward if you shot in RAW. Only shoot in RAW. You have so much more latitude when it comes to making corrections and changing your image. RAW gives you the highest possible quality from your camera, and stock agencies expect nothing less than that. When you're ready to export your files as JPEGs, you want to export at the original size. Never upscale your images. Export 300 dpi and in the sRGB color space. Keywords. You're allowed 50. Don't use all of them. You've done lots of research into what keywords to use before you started shooting, so that's all you need. Don't worry if you only have 15 or 20. If they're relevant and in demand, your image will be seen. Adding lots of keywords just for the sake of it is spamming, and the algorithms will pick up on that and push your content down the list. If you do it a lot, you might even have your account deleted. Submitting lots of identical images is another kind of spamming. That's not going to do you any favors. The titles and descriptions are important too. Try to include your most important keywords in these, but again, don't be spammy. Use real sentences and natural language. You can keyword directly in Lightroom, but be aware that Lightroom will automatically reorder all your keyword alphabetically, which is bad, because a lot of the stock sites they give more weight to the first 7 to 10 keywords. Adobe being one of them. So list your most important keywords first. You could use Adobe Bridge or any other software that embeds the keywords directly into your JPEG's EXIF data. Now you want this because when you upload, the stock sites will extract this information from the file, and you won't have to keyword manually on 20 different sites. I used to do that. Seriously. Copy, paste, copy, paste. I used to do that across several different, many sites. I wish someone had told me what I just told you. All that's left to do now is submit your images to the stock sites. Most of them allow uploads using FTP, which I prefer. Once your images are in your contributor portal, all you need to do is add your releases and select some categories. This is not as important as it used to be, but yeah, try and pick some accurate categories anyway. My final and most important tip if you want to increase sales is to repeat everything you just did. As often as possible. You need to be uploading all the time. By default, many stock sites, they show the most recent images at the top of searches. So you need to feed the sites new content all the time for a chance to get your images up there. Don't upload really big batches of images. If you have a big batch, it's better to split it up and submit your images from that batch gradually in smaller sets. Okay.